place you are about to see today holds countless stories. It was once the house of real people persons named Monique and Francois, awarded with the title of nicest neighbors. They had beautiful years in their trusted place that they could call home. This was once a place filled with joy, and if one listens closely, the sound of board games they played with their children can still be heard as echoes of the past. Both Monique and Francois had an affection for reading, and every now and then Francois would venture out into the nearby wooded areas to hunt. Happily in love that the couple was, they had 2 children together, a boy and a girl. On some wonderful timeless memories, we can still see them in the house, embracing their first newborn child. The boy's room is completely in the theme of his love for motorsport. Whereas in the hallway, dozens of photos of their daughter color the wall alongside her growth charts, beautifully immortalized with lines. Although covered in thick dust, the house looks as if they have just left the room. Here, Monique's old sewing machine sits ready for use in what would have been a bright spot by the window. On X-rays found in the house, we can determine that Monique once suffered from back problems. But declining health due to age wasn't the reason the house was ever abandoned. In fact, the couple was still in their prime when they had to abandon their home forever without having a choice. If we have to believe the rumors about the house, the history of this place is painfully devastating. Weeks after our exploration, we learned that the couple deceased in a car accident in the Christmas of 2010, along with their son and daughter. Today, the Christmas decorations are still bitterly hanging. As their house was once meticulously maintained, the years of vacancy and neglect have now taken their toll on their precious home. Let me open a window for you in the past and the life of these 2 worthy French residents and their children that had no choice but to leave their beguiling French home left behind forever. Sit back and relax, because today's Explore is actually a very, very special one. This home totally captivated me, and it was actually once owned by a French couple, Francois, the man, and Monique, the woman. I did some research in the house, and I nearly found the story of this family from A till Z. So these people had 2 children, a son and a daughter. Their son really was in awe of race cars. And Mr. Francois himself, he actually loved hunting. His woman loved sewing. And the story is actually quite sad, because as these people grew older, their children went outside of the home studying in a nearby city. And yeah, as the people grew older, of course their health also went backwards. And we found x-rays inside of Mrs. Monique, that she actually had rheumatoid arthritis. So yeah, her health condition was going downwards, like I said. Mr. Francois also had a medical condition because his eyes were actually very weak. And eventually there came a point that Mr. Francois had too weak eyes to do his hunting, and Mrs. Monique actually could not go outside anymore a lot. And what I really like about these people is that these people were really people lovers. They loved inviting guests, having friends over at their place. They even had this guest house inside of their garden when they did not have enough space to actually hostess all their friends and guests coming over. And there came this point that they could both not pursue their passion anymore because of their medical condition. So yeah, eventually they actually spent a lot of time together as their children already moved out. They loved watching to the television, and they also loved having an alcoholic liquor. And that's how these people grew old. And then there came a day, of course, that both of these beautiful human beings actually passed away. And ever since, this charming abandoned house is left completely untouched, trapped in time. And when I walked inside of the room where I am sitting now, I was absolutely surprised. There are so many details inside of the room to point out. Well, you know what, people? I made you so exciting, so let's stop the talking now and let's start exploring. Let's go. So I'm gonna start this exploration at the backside door. This door is literally widely opened, and this is also everything I'm gonna show you from the exterior of this home, because I really care about protecting it. And it's so strange. This is how we literally encountered it. It's not forced. The door is just standing straight open, and inside waits a veritable time capsule for us. Wow. The first room. And we will build up the tension. We can already see plenty of books, a fan. Like I told you, they loved drinking a beer or some liquor in their older days. And thus, there's already signs of, their activities in their leisure time. There's also a chest right over here. Also a book here. Let's put the book back with the other ones. Looks like mattresses or something. Very strange. Alright, those were actually wicker hats, and they got them, I think, in a guided cave tour, because that's standing on it. Just some other storage. Oh, and some records over there. Short play records and long play records. I guess they also love listening to music, and so did their son as well. He especially loved listening to Paul McCartney. Well, I think this was or from the daughter, or this was from Mrs. Francois. All the gentlemen celebrities hanging as posters on the toilets. I'm really wondering what Mr. Francois thought about it. Oh, but this was the part of Mr. Francois, for sure. That's funny. So yeah, just a normal toilet with a lot of posters, and apparently each family member had its own side. It's unbelievable to imagine the years that have passed inside, but still it is left so pristinely. Well, over here is actually a wardrobe. There are still some coats hanging and many pullovers. And I do have a feeling that some of them might even have been hand knitted by Mrs. Monique. But I'm gonna leave them as they are, because they are still protected in layers of cobwebs. And it's just beautiful to see how Mother Nature just did its job. And I will respect that to the fullest. Also a tiny fur coat. Definitely women's clothes. Some belts. And plenty more. Also ties over here. They're all still just hanging next to each other. The tiles on the ground over here are breaking too. And from that side we actually go to the opposite side. There is another room, and this was a bathroom. What was this actually? What was it holding? It looks like this was a little tab over here, although I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, let's go inside of the bathroom. I really like the lamps on the sides of the mirror. And still, all their everyday items, grooming products, everything they used in the morning is still there. The only difference is that this once was a room that was used for cleaning, and right now it's the exact opposite. It's full of dirt, mostly dead flies and rat and mice droppings. Look, even over there, still the shampoo and shower gel. It's just standing there. And over here was the part from Mrs. Francois. A lot of aftershave. And this was definitely the part of the woman. All her perfumes are still standing there, where they were left one day in 2010. So in 2010 this home became abandoned eternally, and ever since there is no single relative or friend that seems to take care of the stuff. Yet it is just all inevitably going to waste, and it's left unloved. Okay, let's go inside of this room. I think this was once the room of their daughter. Wow. Have a look at this. It's a pristine bedroom. I can hardly see any signs of human vandalism. A Thompson television over here. Over here in this box are even still strawberry candies. How crazy is that? Oh no! This was like a clip, like a decorative thing. Very unexpected. a little this and that inside. And then have a look at this wonderful mirror with the details on top. And this was definitely the mirror where their daughter did her makeup every morning. Plenty of perfume again, even their jewelry is still inside. One of the first ever times that jewelry is not stolen. And now you can probably also understand and get the point why I'm being so protective about this place. It is truly unbelievable. Every single thing. Maybe this is one of the first times that explorers were first, before the burglars found out about this home. And then over here on the wall, we have a wonderful picture of her and a beautiful list. On that side there is also a pretty huge wooden wardrobe. And again, just plenty of clothes, even some magazines, quite retro ones. It is truly, truly unbelievable. This might even be one of my favorite time capsule homes in France, to be honest. And for what reason? Well, just keep on watching and I think you will definitely understand my way of thinking. Over here, because of the moisture, the stuffed wall print is just loosen. It's slow to come off. And then lastly, another wonderful sign of natural decay at the wallpaper here too. This could have even been handmade by the daughter, maybe in a creative class in primary school. Some books in the corner. I really like this tiny lamp too. Definitely very French style. Pair of glasses is still laying here. Let's see, I see a coin. And it was, wow, 1986. République from France, Republic from France. This was the old French currency. I think it's not worth anything, by the way. Just have a look, like, again, it's just filled with jewelry. It's absolutely mind-boggling. This tiny box was filled with paper clips. There was also a candle here. Some pomade. Well, not much to see over there. Let's continue. Yet on the other side there is actually a quite messy room. And that's strange in contrast with the rest. But because I think there is still plenty of valuable stuff, I'm just gonna try to look through the mess. Look at these things here. In French they are called coiffures. You definitely know where they were used for, to make curls inside the hairs. And the hairs on this one are even still on there, which means that this is used. I'm gonna put it back. of course, I'm also always wearing gloves while touching these items. Look at that wonderful porcelain clock right over there. I really like it. Alright. There's a magazine from 1984. And right now I'm actually standing in what was once the main bedroom of the couple, Francois and Monique. It is strange that there is so much mess over here. But you can again tell that the entire wardrobe is stuffed and just overstuffed. Poster over there. I wish I could show you that photo over there in more detail, but the only way to reach it is climb over all the stuff. I'm not gonna do it because I think it's a little bit respectless to the people who live there. But on the right hand side you can see one of the last photos of Francois and Monique, and it looks like this was on holiday. The left photo even seems to have been taken on a holiday with friends together. Absolutely amazing. Priceless memories these people made. But that's not everything. There is even more jewelry, a watch, earrings. Some even seem gold. It's unbelievable. And there is more over there. Also some wonderful clothes again. Look like woman clothes. And then let's walk down the corridor. And right in front of us we encounter a wall of memories showing the love and dedication these people had for their children, their son and their daughter. Right over here. They are just reflected everywhere on the wall here, on these various photos. What might also be cool to show you is that these people were also animal lovers, apart from people lovers, dogs. They also had a kitten. And this was a photo taken in the main room, which you are about to see. You can also see a cat sitting on the table. Just remember this room, as we're gonna find it nearly as pristine, but right now these plants over here are completely dry and barren, and the garden is definitely not well maintained as it used to be anymore. Some coats hanging on the coat racks here. This was also inside of the mansion. And one thing I noticed, and I absolutely really like this over here, because my parents, and especially also my grandmother, also used to do this with me. They measured the length of their children, and they would literally stand like this to the wall with their head back, and they would write a line where your head would stop and write a date right next to it. My deceased grandmother used to do exactly the same when I was still a little one. And from the wall of memories from their daughter and their son, we actually go to the bedroom of the son. At least it once was. You can definitely tell it was also a chill room. On the ground, a game of Scrabble. When Francois and Monique grew older, they loved to play board games. Checkers, Scrabble. We found numerous. Whoa. This is also inside. Again, a photo of them. This is the television where I filmed the introduction And the chair was right next to it, at least right now. But it seems it didn't used to be. And look how many leaves and everything. These people definitely loved decorating their home, and especially also with plants. Very interesting to see this. They possessed a lot of clothes. That's at least very evident. Out of a basket they made a lamp. Also not very common. And then there is a huge decorative Asian fan on the wall. Even some baby clothes over here. This might even have been a cabinet where they just stored all the baby clothes when they were not used anymore, as they already raised up their children. Motorsports, photos of their son when he was probably in his puberty phase. Like I said, he loved listening to Paul McCartney. And apart from motorsport, he also really liked cars, especially race cars. So many prints on the wall. This desk is just filled with old photos. I'm gonna try to pick the most essential ones out. Over here we can see a photo with their son again, and this was the couple. Looks like this wasn't a pretty official day. Maybe even their marriage, who knows. The woman, same woman as you see over here, but actually when she was still younger. The same woman, probably with a friend. Their cat in a wicker basket. Even more about cats, but on the ground there is actually plenty of other photos too. It's sad that they're just left on the ground. They're just completely left, forgotten about. So many family photos. Very, very sad that nobody ever reclaimed all their stuff. It's always hard to imagine how somebody can just leave it rotting away. Even for me, it's sometimes, yeah, I don't know. It really hurts me sometimes. And of course, I also often still do not understand how people can just walk away from this. So you're definitely not the only ones thinking this. Even again, there's just a watch over here. It's just unbelievable the amount of antiques inside. But let's go on now. So you've seen a bathroom, you've seen the bedrooms, but you haven't seen the kitchen yet. So that's where we're heading to right now. And I actually really like this kitchen because there are plenty of details, and I think it's just very cozy. They probably prepared a lot of traditional French meals inside of this kitchen. Francois and Monique, probably together, one day for their son and daughter. And after that they were just finally dining together. Access here, a knife, little thermometer. I think these little jars were actually used for the spices. Complete china collections are just left behind here. And this is the part where it becomes sad, but also realistic. Like I said, the people became pretty old and they must take a lot of medicine and pills. even more. And some more knives over there. Yeah, just everyday kitchen items like you would normally expect. But what made it special again, because they were special, is just all the tiny ornaments and the this and that's. For example, here on the wooden bar of the chimney, right above the furnace. Wow, amazing. I actually wanted to test out if it still works, but it's trapped in cobwebs and I'm gonna leave it. This is just the definition of pristine. Unbelievable. And I 100% believe that this is left like the people left in 2010. Genuinely. Wow. So here in these shells I can already catch a glimpse of plenty of cutlery sets. And even more over here. Also looks like some baking tools. So maybe they really like baking. What? No way. I just opened this can. I can already smell it. The crisps are still inside of here. It's very smelly, but I want to check the expiry date, and it's from the 3rd of March, no, the 5th of March 2010. It is expired. But dang, those were cheese snacks. And the smell is pretty strong, so let's close it and let's leave it there. Well, those were all their plates. And those were all their glasses, respectively. So let's go through this door. It's connected to the kitchen, and there's actually a little garden house. They had some wood for the fireplace and plenty of tools. You probably already expected, but yeah, all just still left. Dang! And look at the huge collection over here of burning wood. So many trunks. This was like a complete workshop. These people had plenty of tools of appliances an average person could only dream of. Oh, a giant saw. You definitely do not want that thing to fall down on your head while you are walking under it. Alright, well, then it is finally time to show you the highlight of this complete house. Let's close the door of this garden house again. I'm already gonna give you a quick preview of what's about to follow. Have a look at this. They just had like this tiny window here that you normally see in restaurants. If you prepare the dish, you could actually pass it on to the servants and the waiters. They just had it inside of their home. I don't know if they actually made use of it. But anyway, time for that one mesmerizing room. Walking cane over there. Like I told you, Mr. Francois loved hunting one day, and still plenty of bullets of his arms and guns are still here. And this is the room I was talking about. Entirely frozen in time. It's just unreal. And there are so many things to look at that I probably will miss out on a lot of things. But I'm gonna try to be as thorough as possible. So do you still remember in the introduction that I said Francois and Monique were really people lovers? I did not say it without any reasons, because this in French is actually saying that this was a diploma for the most friendly and nice neighbor, Monique and Francois. Let's see what they wrote. They're always attentive, and they always ask if everything is going all right. They're always standing at your service. They are a bit of family, and we love them very much. We're happy to have them as our neighbors. And then written by the neighbors in 1991. Unbelievable. I'm wondering if those neighbors are still living next to the place, because otherwise it would be strange that they are actually not closing the place to protect it if their relationship with them was that good. A game of checkers in this box. Many personal photos. The birds of their daughter, you can see over here. And this was them in their younger days. And look, right now, it's exactly the same bookshelf. Exactly the same. And it seems that hardly any book is missing. But before focusing on that part, we're firstly going to this one. Also a wonderful wooden barometer here, with an interesting carved design. A copper pen. Even a decorative wooden pitchfork on the wall. I've never seen that, but yeah, apparently it fitted their profile. Oh, a bed warming pen. Very nice. So they would put the hot coals of the fireplace inside of this pen, put it right under the bed, and then the bed would be nice and warm during winter times, for example. This is a very, very old-fashioned razor. Wow. Even more photos again of them with their daughter. Wonderful. This is a part of an oil lamp. A wonderful mirror is laying on the table too. Purse over here, but I can feel it's empty. And if you just saw the other bookshelf, there was even another one. These people obviously love spending their time reading books, maybe also study material. I guess they were pretty well studied and intelligent. An old-fashioned cuckoo clock. And then right over here, plenty of liquor. But really, a lot. Champagne, Scottish Milo. What's this? Oh, that's rum. Agricultural rum. 𝗦𝘁cie𝗿𝗆, the old-fashioned bottle that we also found in Spain during our Spain series. So much. They even had this tiny cabinet over here with plenty of different glasses. That was something religious, I think, or was it a key holder? But anyways, all the glasses for their liquor. Then over here, this thermometer, it's saying at which degree Celsius the best conditions are for different sorts of wine or champagne. For example, Bordeaux wine, 17 or 18 degrees Celsius, Bourgogne, all just different areas throughout the country of France. And these people have something in common with me, because they were also collectors of sunglasses. And I also can never get rid of my sunglasses. I have plenty of them. Also normal glasses over here, like 4 or 5. Wow. I have to point out this chair because it's almost not visible. Look how unique it is. It almost looks handmade. Now, of course, I want to place it back like I found it, but with the camera in my hand, that's very, very hard. But after some effort, there we are. Old-fashioned bottle of Gordon's gin even. I've never seen it with this label before. Definitely something old school. Plenty of jewelry again. You can really not get your head straight around it. Unbelievable. Still in its jewelry box, like it used to be. Like I told you in the intro as well, Mrs. Monique, a woman who spent her whole days sewing a lot. Of course, then she also had a sewing box she could bend out. Like always, we found them plenty of times. So many tiny things inside. And then over here, this wooden bar. Some wooden clumps. Ivory. And many other little ornaments. Now you can clearly tell their importance for decorating their home. I should also not forget to mention the very unique chandelier hanging on the ceiling. And then here behind these curtains was actually their main door. They had plenty of locks. And where are all the keys still hanging? And then let's go to the other part, which is probably also my favorite part of this room. Still a bed standing here, probably from the very, very last resident who lived inside. I don't know whether it was Francois or Monique, but at least I hope they lived good last days and just happy ones. Just have a look at all the details here, it's unbelievable. Apart from all the books, there are so many other tiny things. Pictures, figurines, the toy truck there. And also, I should not forget to mention the wonderful curtain right above it. Right over here was actually like, it's not a real gun, but it's actually a decorative one. It was definitely a sign for Mr. Francois. to show his dedication and passion for hunting. Look over here, that was definitely once from the real gun. Like the complete collection of bullets, and most of them are all still there, next to each other. I don't know if these people particularly liked world traveling, but they had this piece of, yeah, should I call it furniture? I don't know. Decoration maybe, with a huge globe. Normally you can also turn this one, but I think right now it's just completely stuck because of decay. Of course, again a bottle of liquor. They also canned their food. And even more liquor right underneath this globe liquor table, if I can call it like that. And over here is still a wonderful 𝗦𝘁cie𝗿𝗆𝗆 sewing machine, still with its cloth right above it. It seems that they could put liquor inside of here, and then you had this little tap. You could turn it, and then eventually liquor would drip out. Wow. Like I said, this house is very, very high in my list. I'm wondering from who this photo was. Could have been from a family ancestor. Maybe their son when he grew older. Maybe Mr. Francois when he was younger. Plenty of theories could be valid. I guess I will never know the truth. And all I can do is let my imagination run wild. I really like to see this, because on the photo I showed previously, you could see that all the plants over here at the window with the garden were just spreading across this room. They are still there, but right now they're all just completely dry and barren. They haven't been watered for a severe decade. And yeah, they died. Television over here. And then there is this wonderful fireplace. There is even still this old pot with which they used to boil the water to make tea or soup, for example. And I do think that we found an expiry date of March 2010. I think the expiry date of the crisp was approximately 3 months, and the home got abandoned around the end of December with Christmas time. Because look at all the Santa decorative lightings across the fireplace. There is even a bellows. Well, guys, you know, this home is just so complete. Like, it is literally featuring everything you can probably ever find inside of any abandoned place whatsoever. And that's just what makes it very unique. Look over there, they even had like this pocket peacock chair. Some other, yeah, glass bottles, probably also used to hold liquor. This one is even still holding liquor. It looks like 𝗦𝘁cie𝗿𝗆𝗆𝗆 to me, although I'm not completely certain, but let's smell it. I don't smell anything. Strange. Well, at least I don't think it's 𝗦𝘁cie𝗿𝗆𝗆𝗆 then, because that smell is pretty strong. What is that? I think it was a clock. And lastly, we come to this wall, a calendar. from 2010. Their daughter. A painting. And maybe even one of the saddest finds is this over here. I actually found it. Those are still the original medical files. This one was already opened. And this is also how I came to the conclusion that Mr. Francois and Mrs. Monique actually suffered from medical conditions. Firstly, this letter is from the ophthalmologist, and it was dedicated to Francois, like you can see over here. That's the first piece of evidence. Secondly, this is what I found inside the files. If you can follow me to the window and put out the light of the camera, then I think we will be able to capture a cool glimpse of these X-ray photos. Alright, so let's see. Right over here you can still see the name Monique, and this was from November 2006. We can see her spinal cord right over here, but also her hip. That's probably also where she suffered the most from with her rheumatoid arthritis. You can mostly see that the joints are just damaged. And then I'm gonna also try to open this one, another medical file. I don't know what's inside. Okay, well, it's funny, you can still see all the stickers, also from Monique. So I think this case actually one day also was filled with pictures of her, but right now it's not anymore. And yeah, with that having showed, I think I actually want to close the video over here. There is also 2 cars outside in the garden. I will just show you a quick shot of that right now. And yeah, you also could see that there is a garden house, but like I said, I'm gonna be very protective with this place because it captivated me a lot. I think I'm responsible for protecting it. And yeah, I just want to preserve it in time. And if you enjoyed my perspective and documentary on this place, then there is only one thing left for you to do to help me and support me with our videos, and that's hit the like button, subscribe to our channel right down below, and also do not forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section right down below. And then as always, I wish everyone a wonderful week, and we will see you on the next adventure. Peace out from France. Bye bye.